Hello everyone, Burb here. Let's just jump right in and talk about Team Opera O New Year. As always, if you like the character, pull for the characters that you like, as long as your pull plan says that you're able to pull for an Uma right now. If you don't have the support cards required to complete your goals, that is competitive champions meeting all the way down to casual, you gotta save up 30, 60,000 carats for those support cards. There is a ticket coming out in about a month. If you're willing to spend 20 bucks on it, you can just select her. If you're not interested in Harurara as well, it might be better to use the ticket on Team Opera O because it is a double banner. So if you need a little bit more validation to push you right over the edge, she does end up becoming a quite good universal parent for pace chasers and frontrunners later on in the game. She's a decent one now, but really comes into prominence in about a year. So she has long-term viability. She will not brick your account for pulling for her. So if you like the character, feel free to pull for her. All right, get the housekeeping out of the way. For her aptitudes, she is mostly a medium and long horse in the pace chaser or late surger role with turf. Notably, she has dirt E, so you can force her into dirt. However, you can't force her into dirt and mile. You can't force her into dirt and mile without some issue because you, of course, only have 6 slots and it requires 4 of them to go from E to A. So you will have to gamble on a dirt and mile spark if you're trying to go and build her for Aquarius Cup. We'll talk about why that may not be the best idea in a bit. But as far as her aptitudes go, long horse, pace chaser, turf is generally what Sci Games really intended her to be. I didn't talk about this on the Aurora video, but she does have a combined 21% in speed and wit, which generally is a quite large advantage because you really only need 1 SSR MLB plus 1 SR in both of those categories to reach max speed, basically. So you'll have good wit and max speed in the shorter tracks as long as you have 4 cards, and this really allows you to slot in 2 cards of whatever you like. So in the mile races, generally you'll go 2 speed, 2 wit, and then you usually bump up your wit with an extra card, and then you can use a guts card, you can use a power card, you can use a pal card, whatever you like for the last slot. When you're in the long, you generally are going 2 speed, 1 wit, and then your choice of stamina generation. A lot of times you can just use Rico for the mediums, or Rico plus a stamina card for the longs, or and then generally you have an additional slot to either do a wit or to do a second stamina card to go Rico-less, or you can even go power cards. The real strength about this stat spread, having stamina 8% as well as speed 14% and wit 8%, is that a lot of times in the medium races, you'll have enough stamina to go double power as an option. It's not always the best to go, but a lot of times you can go 2 speed, 2 power, 2 wit, and go Rico-less, or you can go 2 speed with just Rico and 2 power and a singular wit, or even just 2 speed, Rico, 2 wit, and really pump that wit and speed stats. And generally the just ancillary power taps you do in summer, or if all your cards have high TEF, just the power taps will make the stamina get to the thresholds required in medium races. So that's really her strength, is in these long distance medium races that require stamina, and the long races. It's sort of the same thing here. The long races, you may not need the additional stamina card and you can go double power, or you can just pump your wit more because you have this little bit of stamina bonus to help. Okay. Her ultimate Barcarolle of Blessings. The game states increased velocity for moderate duration when in the front part of the pack with 400 meters remaining. If at least 7 skills have been activated, greatly increased velocity instead. What this is really saying is at 400 meters, if you are 4th or better, then if you have not activated 7 skills, you gain a speed boost, and if you activate 7 skills or more, you gain a bigger speed boost. We'll talk about what those values are in a bit, but on tracks normally, no matter what, it will be at the 400 meter mark. So this is Capricorn Cup, and there's a little bit of nuance here, but a lot of times on these shorter tracks, unfortunately, it gets eaten up by the acceleration zone because 400 meters left in Capricorn, just so happens to be the exact spot where the acceleration zone starts in the late race. So unfortunately, the spurt starts at the same time as her ultimate, and your target speed will not contribute anything to this race. That's why you don't see her really as a parent, and you don't see her as a runner, because she has G Sprint. But that is why I don't believe it is really necessary to force her in this cup, because except for Oshi reasons, of course, because her ultimate doesn't really help you that much, if at all. Again, fourth or better in order to proc. And as we go on to different CMs, so like Aquarius Cup is 1600 meter dirt. It's a little bit longer than 1400 meter. The spurt is at 533 instead of 400. So it will get clipped, because you will not be max speed by 133 meters unless you proc every single acceleration skill in the game. And even then, you're probably getting partial bonus to your speed. This is where a skill like Triumphant Pulse, which happens with 200 meters left, is actually better than this skill. However, in the long tracks, what happens is the spurt is brought back all the way to 1067. This is Pisces Cup. This is the one that happens after the dirt CM. Well, your spurt starts 667 meters behind where her ult procs, and by then you are well into max speed. You basically have even later timing than Speedstar is, because Speedstar will be at this fourth corner, and you can train Speedstar into this character's ultimate, into a Triumphant Pulse, and then you're just continuously just faster than everyone in the late race. And that's really the strength of the skill, is that it is a late race skill for pacers and front runners. Notably, fourth or better does mean first position. It does not discriminate between front runners in the lead or lucky pacers. So really, she is really built well as a long lucky pacer or as a parent for front runners. The 7+ skill threshold essentially gives her a bonus 0.1 target speed. Notably, the base duration of 5 seconds and the target speed of 0.35. That is what's known as a Triumphant Pulse. So it is basically a Triumphant Pulse that happens at 400 meters instead of 200 meters. However, you have the additional activation of, if you have 7 skills that have activated before this, you get a little bit of a bonus at 0.45. Notably, it has to be mid-race skills and early race skills. So if you are working, and this is why as a parent she was working pretty well, is because a lot of front runners have green skills that proc their groundwork. That's 4 skills right there. And then all you need are 3 mid-race skills. As the game goes further and further and further, and as we get more and more skill points, if you're noticing in the sprint cups, the sprint cup, we're able to really just race more and more. We're going to have like 2,000 skill points now. We're going to have like 2,500, even 3,000 if you really stretch it. But as the game goes further and further, I mean, we're talking JP. JP has like 4,500, 5,000 skill points. We're going to be able to easily hit the 7 threshold mark over the course of time, and this threshold will not change. So as an inherit, unlike Urara's ult, it really doesn't really cut it that much. It's 2 seconds less duration, but if you do have the activation of 7 skills or more, you actually get 0.25, which is essentially makes this a double white skill. And if you're getting your hints, it's a double white skill that costs like 120. That always happens in the late race. So it's pretty much 2 home stretch hastes with perfect timing. Okay? So she's very good as a parent. She's very good on herself in the long and medium races, as long as the spurt does not happen close to the activation of this ability. Her skills, this is a lot, but her skills, a lot of them are basically just roll skills. So Prepared to Pass is Speed Star White. You get this via her events, and Pace Chaser straightaways are good pace tracer skills in pretty much every single CM. On the straight tracks, it's going to cause some speed carryover. On the corner tracks, it will not. Inner post proficiency is good in the inner post. Winter runner's good in winter. Notably, by the time she is actually used, it will be spring, just like the fine motion problem. And non-standard distance, of course, is good in the tracks that are not multiples of 400. So she comes with tether as a debuff. So a lot of her skills just are good in every track that she be as a pace chaser. That's why she's kind of purpose-built to be pace chaser. Her events, you get tether as a choice between 10 power or the hint itself. This is a costume event. This will happen randomly and most likely will happen every single run. She is like Bakashin in that she has this additional chance of getting Charming, which means a lot of times you may not want to run Sweep Tosho for the Charming chance, and you can actually run things like Shinko Windy or King Halo, other speed generating cards that have different utilities than just getting the chance at Charming. So she has additional chance of Charming in her one event. Her other events are pretty standard, but you have a 50-50 for Prepared to Pass. All right. If you haven't played TM Opera O, if you win the Senior Triple Crown, Senior Autumn Triple Crown rather, actually in either the Classic or the Senior year, you do get a mood up and some bonus stats. So those are her events. Now, she does come with Swinging Maestro, which is probably the best recovery in the game. And even if you're running Super Creek, this will basically give you bonus skill points for it. And if you invest hint books into it, you'll get more skill points than other characters in the recovery. You can also just run a Bofa plus a Swinging Maestro on those really long tracks on like the 3,600 meters. So she comes innately with 1, which is really good for pace chasing because you have the stamina debuff. Her skill, that is her unique skill, is essentially Headliner. This is the first instance of Headliner on a card or a character. If you have seen Feature Act before, it's because you can actually get it from Blue Explosions, but it is an incredibly good skill because it has the condition phase later half random, which this means because this is phase later half random equals 1, 1 is the mid race, which is this purple area. So the second half of the mid race, it picks a random point, and if you are 5th or better, it will proc. So you have a quite good chance, especially on longs, quite good chance that this actually can speed carry over, because if it chooses a late position in it, granted it is only 2.4 seconds, it is not a very long skill, but if it procs late on this, it has the option of actually speed carryovering and extending its duration through the entirety of the Excel zone, which for long tracks is quite long. All right, let's talk about CM viability. Pisces Cup. We're not going to talk about the Dirt CM or the Sprint CM. Those two, if you want to force her, it is for Oshi reasons only. Like I said, her ultimate does not work very well, and she doesn't have aptitudes for those really. So do it at your own risk. But Pisces Cup is kind of her headliner, pun intended, headliner race that she will go, because her alt procs at an incredibly good time, like I said, and Headliner is on longs and it is track agnostic. As long as it's a long track, it will proc in the second half of the mid race, and that will have the same chance depending on the length of the mid race, but still be incredibly good. Granted, this track, because it is such a long track, this isn't like the Arima Keenan, this is 3,200 meters. There is a long distance in the mid race that is almost over 1,000 meters, so the odds of it happening are less than normal, but it's still an incredibly skill that you probably should pick up because it is a mid-race speed skill. It is a mid-race speed skill that you can pick up, and those are always incredible. Aries Cup is a little bit more suspicious. It is a medium track, so she doesn't get Headliner, but you can inherit her ultimate, and it's pretty decent. You can use it as well. It does get clipped if you don't hit your acceleration very well, so this is a little bit too close for comfort. So if you're looking for like a no stopping me to really boost your speed so that by the time you hit the corner, this plus Speed Star is just an incredible amount of training effectiveness of target speed. But again, it'll probably get clipped. It's a little bit too close. The Taurus Cup is nice for her as well because it is, again, a medium track, which isn't long, but the spurt happens at 800 meters. Notably, this track will be the first track where Christmas Auguri is absolutely ridiculous because it has second timing 777 activation, so it's a guaranteed acceleration skill. So that's the kind of stuff which you will be facing in the Taurus Reboot Cup. And even if you have Christmas Auguri, putting this on Christmas Auguri is not even that bad of an idea because, hey, you have ridiculous acceleration into inside scoop timing, essentially, but for mediums. So this plus the short spurt is going to be incredible. Okay, so really, Pisces and Taurus Cups are her strength. Gemini The Gemini reboot is going to be pretty tough for her because 533 is way too close to 400. It has the same timing as Highlander, but Highlander is an acceleration skill. And because it's very short, it's a 1600 meter, her ult's not going to be that great. So she's kind of like Dober and Christmas Augury, where her ultimates are good in probably about half the races. Otherwise, they're a bit suspicious. So she has pretty good CM viability, and as we continue on, you're going to pretty much see that the shorter track she's not that great on, the long track she's good on. It's really as simple as that. It's the length of the spurt is what determines her strength. So in conclusion, TM Opera O New Year, pretty good character. Again, you can pull for her, and she has viability. As we get more skills and more skill points, and we're able to buy more skills, she becomes even better. Again, if you are interested at all in Haru Urara, this is probably a good banner to pull on if you're able to pull on an Uma banner, because again, if you are pulling to 200, let's say you get unlucky on your TM Opera O pulls, you most likely have Haru Urara, or you're getting much of Haru Urara, and then it's really not that bad to spend another 30 pulls to get TM Opera O, whereas on a single banner, your pity just kind of gets wasted. So this has been the Way Too Deep guide into TM Opera O. We'll have some more content that's a little less formulaic in a bit, but I hope you enjoyed. Glad we got this out of the way. Take care. Burb out.